And we're live.
Oh, that was
Yay!
quick.
Yay!
There's like no like.
Is this working now? Yay! Okay, cool. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Unknown Era podcast.
Wait,
I'm
I didn't
going
even
to
see
turn
my
my
hand.
little down a little bit. Welcome. Amy is back with us.
Hi.
And you just missed us talking about random games that we play or don't play or that we like. We were talking about Telltale games, but today I'm going to be playing BioShock because the remaster is coming out soon, and I haven't played this since it came out with my friend, and we hid in a dark room and played this game and scared the shit out of ourselves.
Oh.
Roddy brought drinks. Tell us about it, Roddy.
Really? Well, it's called Forbidden. It's just called Forbidden, and it is a artisanal dry cider. No, artisanal wicked dry cider. It's a tightly confusing logo. So yes, and it tastes like cider. So it gets a thumbs up from me.
Me too.
At this present moment, we'll find out towards the end.
From where is it from?
Coffin Ridge.
Coffin Ridge Boutique Winery in Anana, Ontario.
Is it really
Wherever that is.
Annan.
Hello, Forever Games. Oh crap, that didn't work. No.
Oh
What's this?
Hello, Forever Gamers is now following us. Thank you.
Hello.
I did not fix the thingy. There we go. Anyways, whatever.
They never played this game.
Hello, people in chat. Okay, so
I never played it as well.
let's get to it. I decided that we're going to talk today about dicks.
Woo!
Mostly about dicks in television. I guess movies could count too. But why? What are people's opinions? Should there be more dicks on TV? Should there be equal boobage and dickage? What do you guys think?
I think nudity in general, if it's essential to the plot, then yeah, show nudity, or essential to the character,
Yeah.
then show it. That's
Yeah.
it. That's all that matters. Just show it if you need it.
Not gratuitous.
Yeah,
Yes.
not gratuitous.
I'm not really down for gratuitous. I mean,
Every time I see a gratuitous scene of nudity, I kind of wonder what, massive plot hole are you trying to hide that you're just like, look at some penises to
Yeah.
distract from the fact that you, are missing something.
no, I agree. I'm not down for that. Even, there's so many, I find it becomes like a gimmick if there's nudity. Because
Yeah.
there's so many movies that have, buzz because it's like, oh my god, this movie has,
100%.
nudity and, unsimulated sex, and you can
Yeah.
possibly see a penis. And then, for some reason, it gets a whole bunch of buzz. And I'm like, really? But this entire movie is just seeing a penis.
Yeah, and I mean, if you're excited about watching a movie that has unsimulated sex scenes in it, I have news for you. There's porn everywhere.
What was it? Wasn't there that one movie? Who was the director of that movie? Where it was Nymphomaniac?
Oh, yeah.
Or
Lars von
Nymph-
Trier.
Yeah. And there was a series of movies where it was they're all having actual sex, guys. It's
Yeah.
but is the movie good?
What is that?
It's your whole pitch of the movie is that
I stopped
the
watching
actors
it.
are having
tried.
sex.
It's on Netflix. I tried.
Shia LaBeouf's in it.
It's artsy, it's angsty, but then it's just then it's done, and it's so long. There's part 1 and part 2.
Yeah.
I didn't even get through part 1. I'm like, was it part 2? But
Yeah.
I think it tried to go down to was it? I don't know. She does sex,
Yeah.
and then it's
I mean, it just shouldn't be the main buzz focus of the movie, and I get that it's, for promotional purposes, that's what you maybe feel, but, that's all you have going. How good is your story? And I mean, you can have great sex scenes in movies, this will be embarrassing to admit, but, I watched The Notebook, that was,
That's not embarrassing.
that's, some good...
I remember watching The Notebook with
but the thing
my
is,
mom.
it built up.
Your mom.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh.
I cried.
Yeah, it's
Wait,
great.
are you saying you would wish to see Dick in The Notebook?
In the
No, I mean, I
Notebook?
guess I was
No.
more so on a tangent of a sex scene in a movie that's really great, that adds to the story, but doesn't take away from the potential of character development. Stuff
Because
like that.
it's a part of it, right?
Yeah.
It builds up to that really intense scene. Like, what was that movie? It was really awkward to watch, but like you can understand why it built up. Y tu mamá también, where it's just
Okay.
like, yeah, like the sex scene, like you need it. If it didn't have
Yeah.
it, everyone would be let down because the whole movie is basically building up to like this threesome, and like it's like an attention between like all the actors. That, like, okay,
Yeah.
we need to see it. Yeah, like,
We gotta see that.
It's like a part of the movie, and it makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it just can't be used as a replacement for actual character development or,
Yeah,
the
like
story moving
it's
forward.
like boring, sex, boring, sex.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, in terms of the actual nudity,
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like if you're going to show female nudity, you should show male nudity as well, especially TV shows. Like, you have many opportunities to make it an even playing field.
But I find there's like this is not my opinion, but I find like general media is like boobs is okay, and then after that it's like maybe a vagina, and then like the biggest no is like a penis.
Yeah.
Like the penis is like the one that you just don't show for some reason, but boobs are aplenty.
Yeah, but like, it's
Which
weird,
is funny
though.
because like if you somebody were to breastfeed, it'd be like no.
Yeah,
But then,
like, how many
like-
people freak out about that? Of like, just,
But in movies, like it's okay.
yeah. But I mean, your rating will go up if you have that,
Not that much.
I guess.
It'd be like
I don't
what,
know.
like a what, 14?
But I mean, it depends. Yeah, I know in some cases it's like a movie could be super violent, but if there's no nudity in it, you're like at a 14A. But if you have like boobs, you're done. You're at like an 18A, which is
What
ridiculous.
is 50 Shades?
Oh, I don't know.
What
It
rating
had
was
to be
that?
R. I think
I think it was
R.
just R.
I think it was R in the
Okay.
States, but was it R here too?
Don't know.
I'm pretty sure it was.
I didn't see it, so I don't know. I heard it was a little vanilla
I didn't
though,
see
so that's
it
kind of
either.
surprising. But I
No,
guess
I
the whole
didn't.
movie's sex.
I watched
so.
it kind of like a it's a free ticket. So yeah. But like it kind
Don't
of
justify it.
No, but like I watched it and I thought it was a great drinking game because it's so bad.
Mm-hmm.
And so like every time it's nipple, take a drink, like kind of that thing.
And then you're
And then I can be
wasted.
surrendered. But the thing with that too, they showed like boobs aplenty, a
Yeah.
little bit of like her like vagina,
Yeah.
and then all of a sudden like his penis. Nope, it was just
At
like,
all?
They showed like this gross part where all of a sudden it's like this 1 second. Not gross, it's just surprising.
Yeah.
It was just like because they don't like they shy away from it. It's just like 1 second. He like unbuttons his like jeans, and all
Yeah.
of a sudden it's like this is the top part,
It's just, oh.
and then it
and then
cuts
we're
away,
here.
and then it cuts away, and you're like, wait,
See,
what?
that to me is kind of offensive. That you've bigged up this movie to be this big, like, sexual piece, and you're cool showing female bodies, but not showing male bodies.
Do you think it's because I find with penises it's usually used for humor?
Yeah.
It's
I can see
never
that.
it's never something that'd be like, ooh, like let's talk about this.
Yeah.
It's more of like a quick sight gag and then you're done. Like every
I guess
time I've seen
so.
a penis, like an actual penis on screen,
Yeah.
it's been just sight gag. Like I think the last time I saw penis, weird, was like this movie Euro Trip, and it was just a sight gag.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Like
yeah.
they were like nudity,
Yeah.
like oh my god, look at all. And that's the one where they actually went and like they just took it and went with it because they
Yeah.
were like not just one penis, like 7.
Oh, right, the nude beach.
Yeah.
Scene, yeah.
And
I
it's just
don't
a whole bunch
remember.
of penises.
Yeah.
That's-
And you're right, like in
There was also a bunch
Hangover,
of old
too.
men.
Yeah, it was
It
for
was-
funny.
it
It was
was-
like a sight gag,
yeah.
right? Yeah, yeah.
I don't. Yeah, maybe we're just all still so immature when it comes to penises that people think that if you include it in a romantic scene, people will just start laughing and giggling.
I think it's just because of its shape.
Maybe.
It's just-
Maybe.
It's just so off-putting that you're like, no, you just can't show that.
I mean, the ones that spring to mind are like Shame and Django got a lot of attention for showing male nudity.
But no one actually ever talked. I find like anyone that had a conversation with the movie Shame,
Yeah.
it was just like the first thing you say in
Oh.
the conversation is like, "Did you see his penis?"
Yeah. Well,
It
you
was
can't miss it.
Yeah. No, yeah, but like that's that's like nothing about like the story.
But, yeah.
It was just like, "Did you see his penis?" And I'm like, I guess that's all the movie is. I feel like the whole movie in his filmography will be like, "Oh, that's the one he showed his penis in."
100%.
Yeah, like no one will know anything else about Shame.
But I feel like, isn't it that way though? Because we've like as a culture, have made it so normal to see women's bodies in like sexualized and stuff like that. That's why everyone's just cool seeing it in TV and movies and.
Yeah, I think
like,
that's it.
Wasn't Game of Thrones had all this female nudity and all these people were saying like, well, what the heck? Like you have all these dudes. Why are we not seeing some butts and penis?
I think it's like just a question of the audience.
Mm-hmm.
Because like I feel like I don't know. Like this is like completely random. I can't remember what movie it was. There was like a movie or show where they had like a female like it was gonna be like the leader of the main. Oh, here we go. It was Avatar.
Yeah.
So they were thinking about Korra, and so when they initially tried to produce Korra, it'd be like, oh no, like we don't. They actually stopped production because they thought that a female lead, like girls won't want to.
Yeah.
So like, and that's so they stopped production. I feel like it's the same thing. Like everything is made from like my point of view.
Yeah.
So that way, like they'll just assume like, oh yeah, like they don't want penis. They'll be thrown off by penis. So let's just have a lot of boobs.
Yeah.
Because the thing is, I feel like as soon as the penis comes up, there's like a point where like, depending on who you're with, as soon as the penis has come up, it's gonna be some awkward dick jokes like coming from some of your friends. You're like,
but then you know that's just like being uncomfortable because you don't see penises everywhere.
Yeah.
Like it's not like boobs come up on screen and you know I'm leaning over being like, oh, itty bitty titty committee. Like we don't do that because we see it everywhere all the time, and so it's just the status quo, I guess. I don't know.
I don't know, like, I feel like, honestly, to make a change, people just should respectively show a penis when it needs to be shown.
Yeah.
Like, for Game of Thrones, like, I understand, like, if they show, like, I remember I watched.
Have they now?
I feel like they increased, like, I heard they increased the amount of penis.
Jon Snow was naked.
Yeah, Jon Snow is naked.
Okay.
Yeah, but, like, before
Spoilers.
then.
But I mean, in, like, relation, like, if you did a tally, it would be, like, completely uneven.
I'll just, like, finally start watching Game of Thrones and just do it just so I could take a tally from, like, dick to, like, boob ratio.
Yeah.
Just for science.
Yeah. My grandma just started watching it. Maybe I'll get her to do a tally. She's very into it. She'll report back.
Do you think people want dick, though? Like, if this, like, is
No! Like, I don't.
This is the best conversation. Do you think people want dick?
I don't think people do. Like, I think it's still one of the, like you said earlier, like, it's male-dominated industry. Things are done from, like, a male point of view because, you know, that ideal age range that you want to hit as, like, for your audience is, what, like, 18 to 30?
18 to 24.
And in men. So it's like, you're not going to throw a bunch of penises in there and expect, like, you know.
Yeah.
Even though that's not, if you threw them in there, you would still have that 18 to 24 range if you had the content that they want to see.
But I find if, like, they did increase, like, if somehow they did increase the amount of penises, there would be, like, I feel like there'd be, like, a tiny uproar, maybe. Like, I feel like people would be commenting.
Good.
I feel like people would be like, why are you shoving, like, penises, like, in my face? Like, I didn't ask
you
for
need
this.
them.
Like,
I
and
didn't
then,
ask
like,
for all these penises.
and they'll be like, oh my god, this is, like, the penis agenda. Like, I don't need this penis.
But there's always a something agenda. There's always, like, the woman agenda, the penis agenda. Like, we need a penis agenda. We need to have, like...
Start it!
Start it now! Hashtag penis agenda.
Penis agenda, yeah.
Like, it's not going to change unless you change the point of view that stories are told from, or even just, like, throw a casual penis into Game of Thrones every now and again, and people will eventually just be like, cool, there's another one. Like,
yeah, this just becomes like matter of fact, like, there it is, cool, done, let's get on. It's like it makes sense, like, oh, they're like, it's a scene in the change room, like, obviously penis. Like, obviously. But, like, nothing random, like, you're having dinner, like, now they're showing penis.
And apparently this is that kind of dinner.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, I think things are changing a little bit now in terms of desirable audiences. Like, obviously, the one we just talked about is still huge, but, I mean, Young Justice, this is not dick-related, by the way, but Young Justice...
I was like,
does not have penises in it. Got canceled because they had a huge audience and a huge following, but it got canceled because their age demo was young women, And they thought, like, oh, well, we're not going to be able to sell action figures, which is a lie. Girls buy collectibles. You can, like, t-shirts, accessories, everything. Like, you could still get a lot of merch money, but they figured, well, we're just going to cancel it because we're not getting our toy demo with boys. And now Netflix has brought it back with this.
Did they?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, that was exciting.
So they have it on Netflix, and now it's a test. So if they can get a high enough viewing for it, it will open the door for it to be resurrected, and they can have additional seasons. So I think with Netflix, there is kind of, and sure, like HBO to some extent, but especially Netflix, there's more of a potential to have this kind of change happen where it's a little more fair, because shows on Netflix can pretty much do whatever they want.
Yes.
I'm pretty sure Marco Polo has penises. Pretty sure. They have a lot of nudity. I think they've had like one or two. Obviously still a lot more female nudity than male, but they have a huge potential to throw that in there. I would love that.
I wonder who makes a decision.
Yeah.
Like, is it the director being like, you know what? Something's missing from the scene.
I'm sure it's a mix of showrunners, and directors, and writers, and the intent is, and stuff like that. So, who knows?
Yeah, like it funnels down and there's a final say of being like, well, maybe we shouldn't put that in there, or, you know, cut this scene out.
Is this too much?
Yeah. I don't know, like...
Are people gonna get this? Is it just cause we can?
I'm still a little bit of a fan, though, of, like, implied things as well, yeah.
Yeah, because it was also, like, once it was, Simpsons. Like, there was the whole thing with the whole gag was, like, covering up, like, Bart Simpson's penis. Have you seen it?
Oh, in the Simpsons movie?
Like, it was, like, the whole, like, covering it up as a part of the gag, and then they finally showed it, and like, what? Like, to me, that was, like, kind of, like, a groundbreaking moment in, like, animation.
Or it's, like, they have an episode in their... like regular series where Homer and Marge were trying to spice up their relationship, and they keep having sex in different places.
And they'd have like the hidden thing where it's like a wood chopper.
Yeah, like they keep like that to me is really funny. Funnier than like seeing full nudity used as a gag. Like, I don't know, I think it's great to be able to use implied sex and implied nudity and still get the message across or the feeling across.
Yeah.
And
Like, you don't need to show it. Like, the thing is, like I feel like it's just like it's like wasting time that could be spent somewhere else.
Sometimes, totally. Yeah. Sometimes I feel like that too. Where it's like, why do we need to sit here and watch this right now? Like, get back to the action, or like get back to whatever. Get back to the plot. Not saying that it's useless in every situation. Or,
no, like some things it's needed. Like I feel like Titanic it needed that scene because that made it an infamous scene.
Yeah.
Yeah, like without that, it was like it's like the combination of like young love and like they get together. Like young love,
young love.
And just saying Jack, just saying their name. The conversations, just saying each other's names.
Yeah,
nothing else. Okay.
And that's great. And sure, there are some iconic scenes. Like everyone will remember the Notebook brain makeout scene and like in the house and stuff. Like,
what are your thoughts on girls? And like the nudity with her breasts. Like I feel like there's like uproar where like she just shows all her boobs all the time. Like some people are like that.
Yeah, like I don't know. I don't really have a problem with showing it. Again though, like if it's for a purpose or if it's done for normalcy, then fine. I don't really care. My problem more so lies in the fact that it's like you're okay watching that in a movie, then don't freak out in real life if you see somebody like walking down the street not wearing a top, or like if you see someone breastfeeding, or if someone posts an Instagram of them like topless or like a lot of side boob. Like don't freak out in real life and be like, oh well, she's a slut and she just shows her boobs, and like
if you watch stuff on TV with that, don't complain when you live it.
Yeah.
Which makes sense.
Right?
It makes sense.
And yeah, just like no levels of shaming people for doing it. And I feel bad because there's a lot of like actors that have been known for the fact that they like take their top off in movies all the time. Like
yeah, like they get a distinction. Like even like when like my parents are like, oh, she went bold.
Yeah,
That's what
I love that.
they're
Oh, she went bold.
So she's a bold actress.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what? Yeah.
And in a way it is. It's bolder than a guy doing it because they don't get shit for anything. Like, Chris Evans, when he first started out, he took his shirt off a lot. There's that Not Another Teen movie where he spoofs the Varsity Blues scene.
Yeah. It's just basically his junk is covered by,
whipped cream.
Yeah, yeah.
Like,
no
okay.
shit.
And yeah, nobody, like, said anything. They're just like, oh, he's hot.
Yeah.
Or like, oh, that was funny. As opposed to, you know, somebody else doing it. It's like, oh, she can't act, she just shows her boobs. Like, alright.
And it just goes to show, like, what societal norms are, like, what everyday society thinks of, like...
Or like,
yeah.
Or like,
Yeah.
what's her name? Who's the woman on Netflix again that has the talk show?
Chelsea Handler?
Her picture that got taken off of Instagram of her topless on a horse making fun of boobs.
Yeah.
That got taken down, and now she posts tons of pictures of her boobs on Twitter.
Yeah.
I would understand. Like, for me, if, like, it would be, like, a reaction. I'm like, like, for me, my thought process would be like, what? Fine, if you don't like that, then, like, I'm just gonna step it up.
There was nothing offensive about her photo whatsoever. It wasn't even like she was trying to take a sexy photo. It was just normal, topless, whatever. And so good for her for posting all those photos.
It literally is just like censorship. It literally is just thinking like, oh, this is bad. Like this is a gateway to like more like sinful things, and that's why,
I mean, Instagram even at one point, and I'm sure they've stopped now, but they were taking down photos of people breastfeeding and stuff like that, and it's like, what are you doing?
Like I don't understand. Like honestly, it's like these are like one of the questions where it's just like never forget that there's just some stupid people out there.
Yeah.
Like, you can surround yourself amongst like-minded people, but never forget there are still people that exist that will like yell to the death at a person because they're breastfeeding, and you're just like, I don't understand.
I don't get it.
Yeah. It just comes down to like why is no dicks. It's just that I don't know, just like censorship, and it's just
It's that the like old men don't want to see penises on television, and that's why there aren't more penises on television.
Like because generally film is not catered to you.
That's one way.
Yeah, it's not.
Part of me hopes that like with things like Korra or things like Wonder Woman, like part of me like will that change things?
Yeah.
Like with Wonder Woman, I'm not excited personally, but a part of me is thinking like even they're saying like, oh, now we can get a female director because like it's a Wonder Woman.
Yeah,
so there we
that
go.
bothers me a little bit though.
Yeah.
Like it bothers me that the only reason why they're giving a blockbuster movie with a large budget to a woman is because they're like, oh well, this is a good like PR opportunity for us because there's a gross amount of male directors versus female directors.
It's just hard to have that trust after such a long time, you know, of going one way, and then you think, are they like that happens with a lot of stuff? Is it because they're doing this because it's genuine, or are they doing this because they want to impress people?
Yeah.
Like when it's like, oh, they made a black Iron Man. Are they doing this for that reason, or are they doing it just because they're like, hey, look, we're inclusive, right?
Yeah, and it's like,
So
I don't like the message that the only way that I could direct a big movie is if the main character was a woman. Because, I can't direct a man, like, I can't direct Captain America.
Mm-hmm.
Like, heaven forbid, he'll be at a salon for half the movie. Like, what do you think is gonna happen? Like, it doesn't make any sense. But that being said, I'm happy that a woman is directing that movie, and, like, I'll go watch it, and I'm not saying anything against her actually directing it.
No, yeah. Like, I find it interesting, because the thing is, though, if people were to list, like, their favorite directors, a part of me is, like, I'm trying to think actually of female directors, and all I can think is, like, Sofia Coppola.
Yeah.
Catherine Bigelow.
Catherine Hardwick.
Patricia
Rosamund?
She did, see?
A lot of...
like the one from Twilight, too. But the thing is, with Twilight, apparently she was, like, if you read, like, whatever rumors or whatnot, it was just saying how, like, oh, she's too intense and blah, blah, blah. She shouldn't be hired again. But then there's, like, other directors that are male and do the same tantrums, and it's just like they're not blacklisted.
I'm sorry, David Ayer made his actors punch themselves in the face or punch others in the face, and he's not too intense. He gets to keep doing things.
It's very weird.
No.
Yeah, I always enjoy reading stuff about Sony email hacks. It's I knew it.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing though too. It's there's different standards, right?
Talking about the Sony hacks. When Roddy got here, I was talking about what I've been doing this weekend. One, I got a little bit sick, and I have to take these nasal sprays every day. But I also watched a shit ton of Hollywood Reporter roundtables.
Yeah,
all the
I
Emmy ones and those. And at all the female ones, they talked about the Sony hacks.
Yeah.
And it was just so interesting. And one of them was for, not the Emmys, the Golden Globes. Mm-hmm. And on there, tying back into this, there was, what's her name? Or maybe it was the Emmys. I think it might have been the Emmys. It was the girl, I don't remember her name. She's on Masters of Sex.
Lizzie Kaplan?
Yes, her. And how she was talking about how all those it was the drama actresses, and they were talking about that stuff. They were also just talking. Because no matter what, inevitably, in those roundtables, they're going to be talking about equality for women in the business.
Yeah.
But at the men's roundtables, they don't talk about any of that stuff.
Yeah.
They just talk about, what's it like being an actor?
Yeah.
And, all this other stuff. But it's so interesting her talking about it, because it's are you ever forced to do anything on stuff? And she's like, no. I mean, obviously my show has a lot of... It is a bit different because it's literally in the title Masters of Sex.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. You know what you're signing up for if you're going to.
And so she's like, I mean, at this point, I don't care about showing my body.
Yeah.
If there was anything they ever asked me to do that was just I didn't like, then yeah. But otherwise, it's I've just become way too comfortable with it.
But
it's
that's also the thing, though. If she feels like she could say, no, I don't want to do this, and it won't jeopardize her career, that's amazing. But there's a ton of people working who feel like they can't say no, and they're the ones being asked to, show their body, not guys. And sure, that's not always the case.
But when that does happen, I feel like there's so much backlash. I think with the Olympics, the guys are oh my god, you guys are sexist because you're objectifying Michael Phelps right now. And you guys, I can't believe you. I'm like, what? Yeah.
You can't say that.
It's just no.
Yeah, it's just. I mean, I know people who have felt like they had to say yes to nudity, even in the smallest of films, because they didn't want to get somebody saying oh, they're uncooperative or they're this or they're that. And I mean, when was the last time you heard about a female lead getting to choose her counterpart in the movie? Never.
Or was it? I think we had this discussion about Basic Instinct with Sharon Stone. Wasn't it not her consent to have that? Was it?
Oh, yes, there was. I don't know if this is true or if it's just rumors, but there was that article that came out where they said that she wasn't aware that was going to be filmed that way, and they just filmed it with the camera at that angle, and then they put it in the movie, and it was just sort of well, this is how we filmed it, and too bad.
If that's the case, then there's no situation where you don't have a choice.
But
yeah.
Well, it's if you're gonna get fired if you say no.
I just then asked about that. It's but then they asked you to take off your underwear, and I don't know.
But if you're in wardrobe and that's part of your character, I can make the choice as a character with my director and a costume person saying oh no, my character's like this, so I'm not gonna wear a bra or underwear because I don't think my character would. That doesn't mean I'm also saying, so you can shoot right up my skirt if you want. No, you have to tell me if you're going to shoot up my skirt.
Just it's not something that can be assumed. Just because you say yes to one thing doesn't mean you're going to say yes to another thing.
Yeah, and I don't know.
I just wonder with something like that, if specifically that, if there's, I don't know, it's tough to say, because I think with something that, I don't know, not obvious, but it feels like specifically that situation, I'm sure at first it was probably like.
It could be a rumor. It could be a rumor.
Like, it seems like it's so well known now that it's really tough to say it was or not. But I think after like, I would have to read the script. That's honestly what I would do. Is read the script to be like, does it say in this? And then we see.
But that also doesn't matter. Like a shooting script can have, and then she takes off her top. But if you've hired me and I've said in my contract that I have a no nudity clause, then it doesn't matter if the script says it. My clause says that I'm not doing it, or like we've agreed that I'm not going to do it. Like that's also possible too.
No, and that makes sense because like it's a contract. This is what is given.
Yeah.
Follow it.
Yeah.
That's why we have contracts. Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, sure, we'll never know unless Sharon Stone says herself that
of course.
And I don't know if she said it or whether it was somebody just made it up.
It's the thing is, though, like I feel like it's one of the rumors that people like resonate with because they can easily see it happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I guess that goes to the climate of like the entertainment industry of like could see it happen. Like it's really bad that like totally I could see that happening. Like it's so crazy that like
all those like casting couch stories and stuff like that and like
it's
easy to believe that that's happened, and if it didn't happen in this situation, it's definitely happened in other situations or very similar to.
I don't know. And then for me too, like I feel like sometimes too, everyone makes jokes about casting couches.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it's not really funny.
This isn't really that
It's not really funny. It isn't. I mean, that's a very like traumatizing situation to be in.
Because it's so hard to make it wanting to do those kinds of things that you're just gonna say yes to. Like some people will just say yes to whatever they feel like they have to, and it's cool that people feel like they are at the point in their careers where they don't have to do that, or they can like make that decision for themselves without thinking that anything's gonna happen.
I don't know. I don't know. And it just goes down to like, do you even need it? Right? Like I find like, did you even need that scene? Like, why are you making like the actress go through this like nudity when like was that even necessary? Like, couldn't they be like, couldn't you show like, oh, they're carefree? Like, you could show them doing something else, but like, look at me, I'm going topless.
Yeah.
Like, you don't need to like go straight through that.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like sometimes like the nudity's in there to like cater, and then like that just which is stupid.
You'll like this because there's boobs.
Yeah, like the whole string of like sex comedies were just like boobs, boobs, boobs because that was what's popular. So then like it's like. What's her face?
Like those teen, like American Pie movies.
Yeah,
and
I feel like that actress is now forever. Like after she did that, like
she was the American Pie girl.
She was the American Pie girl, and then from there she had nothing else.
Yeah,
like,
she'll always be the American.
That's it. Yeah.
I feel like maybe that's I don't know if this is for good or ill, but I feel like that happens a little bit less now because I think nudity's just so common in film and television that. It's less so now that someone could be like, oh, that's the girl that showed her boobs in that movie because everyone is showing them. And, like, in Game of Thrones especially, like, there's barely anybody on that show who hasn't, except for obviously the minors, but still.
But then I guess with Game of Thrones, like, it goes back to, like, if they're showing boobs, they should show equal penis.
Yeah, maybe.
Like, if it needs in the theme.
Yeah.
Like I just think I haven't watched Game of Thrones. Like, did you guys find sometimes like gratuitous nudity, or was it just like basic nudity?
I haven't seen every episode. In the handful of episodes I've seen, I can't actually recall if there was any nudity in it.
Okay.
Outside of, well, and that's the thing. I just said that, but then I was like, no. Pretty much every episode I saw had like some random, like. Concubine in the corner with her top off, but it's just so normalized that I'm like, oh, did a main character have it? And it's like, no, but 5 extras in the background had to be topless, and yeah, interesting. But I think with shows like that though, I don't mind if there's nudity, but if there's nudity all the time.
Yeah.
And if there's nudity all the time, and I'm to believe that you just had sex, and yet she's naked and you have like full armor on almost, clearly that's unbalanced.
Yeah, I guess it's more of like, noting like with what they're doing, like are you pandering the nudity or if it's just like nudity because just because.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I feel like sometimes like again with sex comedies, like you need nudity, or like with slashers or any horror, it's always
Why is there that much nudity in slasher movies?
because I think it's the target audience.
Like, yeah, probably, but it's like it's kind of unnecessary. Like, I'm sorry, if there's a masked crazy person like hunting us all down, I'm not gonna take like a little break to have sex with you. I'm gonna get the hell out of there. Like, it's not. This is not gonna happen. This is unrealistic.
Yeah, but again, it's like it's target audience, and I feel like with slashers in general, like are like I don't know. Like, they're still weird. Like, they have these strict rules. They're still sexist.
Yeah.
Like, I still remember watching this horrible B-movie clown movie. They're like, it's a clown.
Yeah.
And literally, anyone that was not vanilla, like, died a horrible death.
You're all terrible people and you're gonna die.
Yeah, and I was like, there goes a black guy, there goes a gay guy, there goes a slutty girl, the quote-unquote slutty girl.
Yeah.
And I'm like, they all die horribly. And I'm like, what the hell is this shit?
What? I don't know if it's just like the trope that they make fun of, but forget if it's actually in a series where it's like virgins stay alive.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember what exactly that one's from.
And it was just in general, because the girl that is the one that's wholesome generally
the good girl
stays alive.
Always stays alive,
and meanwhile the one that's like on it, like what's it called, Freddy versus Jason, she has sex and then she dies.
Yeah, immediately.
Like, she was shown having sex, she dies. The other girl, who literally does like nothing except be like responsible, like survives until the end. It's like, okay, I see how this is going. Yeah. And yeah, again, it's still to this day. There hasn't been another slasher that has did the off-beaten path of like.
Yeah, I remember somebody saying about Evil Dead. Spoiler alert. But the girl who makes it to the end is a drug addict, I believe.
Yes.
And so it's like shocking, and like this is so new because it's not the wholesome good girl that survives to the end. And then, I mean, I guess you could look at Cabin in the Woods too.
Yeah, but
she was a good girl, but the pothead also made it to the end. So
yeah, and like with that, like that was a movie specifically being against the tropes. Like there was like I remember
it was their like thing. Yeah.
There was like there wasn't any like female nudity. Like I can't even remember it, but I remember there was like a blatant male objectification scene. Yeah. Like it was the girl. She's watching the dude undress for like a really, and it like lingered, and I was like, this is different. Because normally it'd be like lingering on like the curves of a woman. Yeah. But this was a girl watching a man and like lusting after him. Yeah. And I was like, this never happens.
Yeah, which it doesn't happen for two reasons. One, it never happens because rarely do movies ever really, truly, objectify men the same way they objectify women. Yeah. But also, it doesn't happen because how dare you show this girl who's supposed to be, like, wholesome and good have lust or, like, have sexual feelings. Mm-hmm. So... Because I think that's the weird thing, too.
What?
It's like...
How, like, you should not show, like, a woman...
Yeah. Like, unless you're, like, a prostitute or, the, like, bad girl in the horror movie, like, you can't have lustful feelings. Mm. That's changing now, too, of course, but, like, obviously mainstream movies are still, like,
but, like,
good.
Like, the thing is, though, like, I feel like that's accurate, because the thing is, though, like, if people were to... Like, say you do come from, like, a family that doesn't really talk about anything outside of their world. Yeah. Like, you wouldn't know what, like, normal feelings are. Like, I remember, like, I was watching this thing called My Meth Diary, and there's actually a sequence where, like, the main girl, they have, like, a masturbation scene. Mm-hmm. And she's lusting after, like, her, like, male friend. Yeah. And I'm like, this would never, like, you see so much, like, jokes about guys jacking off. But, like, you never see, like, a female, like, being, like pleasuring herself. And, like, this is, like, I feel like this is probably more norm than people that, like, make it appear to be. But, like, for me, I was surprised because I've never seen it that much. But in my head, I'm like, I'm sure this is more common, but it's just not shown.
Yeah, like, the first time I think I saw something that had a female masturbation scene was 40-Year-Old Virgin.
with
and it's Elizabeth Banks in the bathtub at the very end of the movie.
Yes.
And even that, they're like, whoa, she's so freaky. And it's like,
no.
Wow, you guys must have really boring sex if that's like the freakiest thing you've ever seen in your lives. Like, okay. I don't know. And then, like, trying to think of every other scene of, like, any kind of masturbation has always been used for humor.
Yeah.
And you don't see anything most of the time anyways. I feel like I sounded really disappointed when I said that, but I was just stating a point, not a personal feeling.
Yeah, like, to go back to the dick, like, anything that is considered sexual is just not shown.
Yeah.
Because it's just seen, like, it's just weird.
Yeah.
It's just weird that we still have this, like, notion of, like, sex is bad.
Yeah. Maybe that's what it is. Do you think, like, just the, like, image of a penis is just too sexual?
No, yeah, it's in your face.
Right? Like, literally
Yeah.
is out there. Like, it's not discreet.
I literally think that's what it comes down to. Like, even with, like, I was listening to a podcast where they talk about marijuana, and they talked about how, with it being more common, with, like, to write into scenes, it wouldn't change the rating. But their discussion was, like, no, it was such a social norm that, like, weed is bad, that they will never, ever, like, try to put it, like, in commonplace in movies.
Yeah.
Because it's just how society thinks.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it goes to show with dicks, too. It's just society thinks, like, it's sexual, we don't need to see it, put that away, so that's why you'll never see it.
Put away.
But then, I mean, movies like Pineapple Express and This Is the End are so funny. And it's funny to have, like, or even the episode of Freaks and Geeks where Lindsay gets high before she goes to babysit.
Oh, yeah.
And, like, there's a scene where she's trying to roll a joint by herself in her room for the first time. And it's hilarious. And it's out there in the open, and sure, maybe people are like, oh, well, that's bad. This is so bad. But I don't know. Just if you watch it and you see how commonplace it is and how funny it can be or how, like, normal it can be, like the Freaks and Geeks instance, it's so real that just throw some penises in there and see what happens. I promise it won't be that bad.
But then I think there are people out there that think that, no, you can't even do that because then it'll be opening up a conversation that no one wants to have.
Heaven forbid the public realizes that men have penises.
No, but, like, I feel like that's the case, though. Like, the thing is, though, like I said, like, we're amongst, like-minded individuals.
Yeah.
That are, like, things, like, it's fine. Like, it's... But, like, there are still I feel like there's still a dramatic population out there that are pretty intense.
Thought. And this is not a fully formed thought.
Okay, go.
So bear with me. But is it perhaps that they don't want to show penises because it makes the male character seem too vulnerable?
It's a possibility. I could see
like,
that. Yeah.
You know, in a lot, like Game of Thrones, all these dudes are supposed to be like, oh, I'm the best, I'm the toughest, I'm like the, I don't know, left hand, right hand of something. Clearly don't watch the show that much. But if you then have him completely naked, he's now in a vulnerable situation, and this somehow undercuts his masculinity, which makes people maybe feel uncomfortable. People, i.e. other men, feel uncomfortable and maybe don't see them as, like, the big hero that they're supposed to see them as.
No, I would say there's, like, I don't think it's, like, obviously it still needs to be, like, formulated with, like, thoughts and, like, actual things, but I can see that happening.
Yeah.
Like, I can see that being a reason why they don't show things. Because, like, I think anything that emasculates a person is considered a no.
Yeah.
Like, they don't like to, like, there's, like, a lot of, like, I was just reading an article recently, and I think it was, like, saying how the director for, what's it called, Birth of a Nation, like, he didn't want to be acting in anything as, like, a gay person because he thought it'd be emasculating, and he thought that like black men don't need to be emasculated by portraying as gay. And I was like, this is a very strange.
Well, he's a whole other entire podcast episode of
exactly.
shit, but
like I feel like it ties into, like, if you're showing the penis and making vulnerability, it's like a no, like, men must be strong, women can be weak.
Yeah. So they can be vulnerable. They're also more objectified as a norm, so it's more commonplace to see, but this like introduction of people just showing their penises is rather like, so it worked in Shame because he is a broken and vulnerable character. It works in Django because at the time when you see it, he's being like horribly abused.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe this is just a problem in how we see certain things, and I could even go so far as to understand the risk of an actor deciding to show his penis. Because in most cases, people don't care. Boobs are boobs, whatever the size.
Oh, yeah.
However, if some, super masculine dude that's supposed to be playing the hero suddenly takes off his clothes and doesn't have what's expected to be a lot going on, I can understand why that would be a little bit riskier to show or go against the image you're trying to portray.
No, I can understand that. Like, the thing is, though, with like leaks of certain actors having their news exposed, the first thing people go and attack is like how much is going on down there.
Yeah.
And then for some reason that makes them less of like a man. And I'm like, this is weird that they use that to fuel any other opinions that they had of them beforehand.
The other thing too with that is they always go to like immediately size. What has he got going on? But I know recently there was those Orlando Bloom leaked photos
of him
paddling.
Yeah, and they're like, why is he naked? I'm like, he seems like he's on vacation. He's in the water. Like, relax. Like, why aren't you naked when you're on a paddleboard? Like, I don't understand. But then there was an article that was, and this blew my mind, but it was like, what's wrong with Katy Perry? And I was like, excuse me? And they're like, what is she trying to do? And like, what's going on with her? What is she thinking? Why is she on this paddleboard with her naked boyfriend? It's like, I'm sorry. So now women aren't only judged for their bodies and the decisions they make with their bodies, but they're now in charge of the decisions that their boyfriends make with their bodies, or any adjacent man to them makes with their bodies. It's now their problem.
But was this person a troll?
It was a whole, I don't know, it was a whole article about how there's clearly something wrong with her, and she's no longer, like, to be idolized because she's fully clothed on a paddleboard with her naked boyfriend.
She's no longer the wholesome person that we knew that kissed that girl one time.
Yeah, no, it's over. It's over because she's clothed and her boyfriend is naked.
No. But I think it's a funny kind of thing where like like even like political views. I feel like you can literally judge a person by what they think of a penis. Like,
probably.
Are you like showing penis or like no penis? And for me, I'm like, I'd probably be hanging out with people that are like, yeah, showing penis.
Yeah.
And really refrain from people like, no penis.
Yeah.
Yeah, it literally is like a political party.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Pro penis and penis. Yeah. Which side are
Pro
you on?
penis.
Totally. Yeah, it just, I don't know. I feel like it just goes to like old censorship of like old values of belief and like negative connotations of having sex. It just goes to why there's not that much penis.
And also negative connotations with sexuality.
Yes, yeah.
Because
you're not
like how many
to talk about it.
Yeah.
It's like you keep it at home.
Yeah.
You don't talk about it outside.
Yeah. Or like how many guys are like, oh, I don't want to see that. That's gross. And it's like, you think your penis is gross? Why is somebody else's penis gross? Like, calm down. Like, nobody is gonna think anything.
Yeah, but like you're right though. Like there is a lot of people like no gross penis. Like even at a younger age, you're taught to be like ew penis. Like as soon as you're taught, like when I was younger, it was like the Fully Alive book.
Yeah.
And I was shown like the penis, and literally all of us like ew penis.
Yeah.
Or like the dreaded like going into like the shower for swimming and like all the old man penis.
Yeah.
Like you initially was going like gross penis.
Yeah.
Like it's just a natural thing that you're taught.
Yeah. Well,
from the beginning.
We're all taught to feel ashamed of our bodies, like, accidentally getting out. Like, don't sit like that wearing a skirt. Don't, like wear a shirt that's small. Like, hide your penis. Like,
hide your penis.
Yeah, it's not a big deal.
Hide your kids, hide your wife, hide
your penis. Like, excuse me, your penis is showing. Do you mind just, like, hiding that? There's too much penis cleavage.
Yeah, it doesn't...
Penis cleavage.
Isn't that like... Oh, no, that's something else. Never mind.
No, yeah, literally, I don't know, like I feel like for people that can't handle the penis, it's just more of like like a sensible, reasonable penis that's there.
Yeah.
Like that people can't handle that. I feel like it's just more of like it just shows who they are as a person. And again, like why there's not that much penis, it just shows who we are as like a society.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But an irrational penis is everybody's problem.
No, yeah. Like there's girls to say like there's sometimes like we don't need like flashers. Like that's not
that's an irrational
that's
penis.
an irrational penis. And that's something to be against.
Yeah. There's a time and a place for nudity in life, in movies, in TV, and you know, sure, you can break the rules every now and again, but in a setting that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Has anyone said nothing like a good what?
What?
It might just because the title of this stream is literally just dicks.
Oh, okay.
It's so good to see that.
Like again, yeah, it goes to show the audience is about penis.
Yeah.
Show penis, the amount of trolls is just extensive.
Yeah.
The trolls are like another issue. Yeah.
That's a totally different thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But one thing I wanted to quick before we go ahead and talk about what we finished off last week and new topic. So there was a article I read on a site that I normally visit called Screen Rant, and it's because I happen to know the people that run it, or some people that write for it. And it was about how I just want to get the person's name. Edinburgh International Television Festival, Sky, the channel that airs Game of Thrones in the UK, their content director Gary Davey was asked to respond to the criticism the series has received Game of Thrones, and specifically the anger over certain scenes about sexual acts and violence and other stuff. And his response, and I just want to pick it apart, it's interesting. I think that it is nonsense. I think that there is an awful lot of violence to men. For anyone who has watched the show, it can be a very violent show. I don't think the violence to women is particularly highlighted. It's just a part of the story. The rape happens, it's part of the story, it was in the book.
So
what you think?
Look.
So wait, what is the topic more of like...
It's specifically about the fact that people like say, oh, is there too much gratuitous violence in the show, with rape scenes or other things. And he's basically saying what it seems like is there's violence all over the place. There's crazy shit happening. I think what the argument that I've always heard about stuff like this, specifically with this show, is like it takes place in it's always the argument that I always hear about like certain things where it's a period piece.
Right.
That period of time was totally different than what we experience now. It's either you make it so PC that we accept it as what it is today, or you just have to accept the fact of whatever happened. Not on certain levels, I'm saying. Like, it's not like, yeah, no, go ahead and do all that stuff. What I'm saying is, like, you have to let some things that are historic, not really historically because it's fantasy, but like...
See, that's why this argument bothers me. You can't say, like, this historical time period where dragons were roaming around and magic shit happened. It's like, no, you're just, like, it sounds like his argument is literally the equivalent of not all men. And, which is really frustrating. Because, sure, I'm not against violence in TV, movies, anything. I love action films and all they are is violence. But... it's not a sound argument to say, well, violence happens against men in this, because there's not a systemic problem in society of violence against men to this degree. Like, there's a lot of issues that are real issues, which are why people are getting upset with the show. Because they feel like there's a lot of gratuitous rape scenes, which is really off-putting for a lot of people watching. And the fact that the argument is, well, it's historically accurate, or well, it happened. It's like, you don't have to show it, you don't have to include it. There are rape scenes that happen in the show that didn't happen in the books, so that argument is also stupid.
Isn't there also stuff that happened in the book that doesn't happen in the show?
Yeah. But it's like
I
so.
can't remember what.
But there's your thing right there. You can't say, well, it happened in the book, so we have to show it. You don't. You are making your own show. You can show whatever you want. Like Walking Dead, super violent show.
Mm-hmm.
There's stuff that happened in the comic books that they didn't show. There's like 2 or 3 instances of rape that they didn't show in the TV show because they didn't want to.
Mm-hmm.
And the story went in a different direction. Like it's an argument that's not sound, that's just hiding behind nonsense.
No, like I think for me what it is, like I remember having a discussion like back in film school of like the notion of like for some reason to make like any character have like a motivation.
Yes.
It's just like let's just put rape in it. And I feel like it's just kind of, I don't know, it's a very scary thought that people like go gravitate towards that as a plot line, thinking, and it kind of it kind of normalizes it, and I'm like, no, like it's just like
if it matters to the story, I understand. If it doesn't matter to the story, I don't, and I don't buy that. That is the only reason why anyone can have motivation. That's the only reason why.
But it happens a lot, though. That's why.
Well,
that's
that
why
was
it's
one
an
of
argument.
the and like that was one of the arguments that it's like, well, Sansa wouldn't have gotten the like agency that she got to like be the person she is now if her rape scene didn't happen. And it's like,
I think the fact that most of her family is dead.
That's pretty motivating. Like, she's good. She doesn't need this.
No, like it's just one of the weird thoughts of the process of like, why do we need to show a woman in this position? Like I don't understand. Like why does it happen so frequently?
Yeah.
Like it's like it happens time and time again, and I'm like, why?
Yeah.
It's just, I don't know. It's just a very, and like even introducing that topic is just a whole point of like, oh my god, like no, it's like it's another topic, but yeah, it just gets into like this whole thing where I'm just like looking at someone going like, what's wrong with you?
Yeah, or like what is going on in these writers' rooms that there's not someone who's like, hey, let's think of something else traumatic that could happen, because that traumatic thing that happened to Jon Snow that motivated him, that can happen to a female character too. Like,
I guess it just goes to show like people that are not like, it's just more like sensitivity, and never like they don't understand. Like they're trying to think of like, oh, if this were to happen to me, this is what I would feel.
Yeah.
So like they go from their perspective, not understanding like, no, like it doesn't.
I'm told this is the only awful thing that ever happens to women, so let's throw it in here. It's like, gosh.
Yeah, no, but it happens a lot. Like remember the discussion that we had with like mentioned so many modern like films and shows that use rape as like, oh my god, he's a cop that is seeking vengeance for his raped wife.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what?
It could be its own genre. Like, it's insane.
But yeah, it just goes to show the audience, people that write it, it's just, there's a point of view that's not you.
It's like, and it is alienating a lot of the times when you just like are bombarded with this all the time, and then you have people commenting, or people that are in charge of the show or the network commenting saying, I don't really care, or like, we don't care to fix this problem, we don't care to listen to this problem, it's historically accurate in the land of dragons. Like, you're not listening, and you're not in touch, and maybe sit down and talk to some women writers and see what they think about this.
Are there female writers in Game
of Thrones? No idea. It would be interesting to see what they're.
It would be an interesting thing to look into. Yeah.
I'm sure there's like one, maybe.
Yeah, but then it goes like, remember that Matt Damon incident with like the white splaining, where like.
Oh golly.
Yeah, like it's like goes to show like if you were to speak up, would it be like no, Like they get like the thing is though like I find.
Are you talking about the? He's done it a couple of times. So are you talking about the most recent one with the movie he's in?
No, not the one where he like it's awesome about him in the Great Wall of China.
Yeah.
No,
Okay.
it's not that. It's the one where like they made a film for like it's like the green light kind of thing. Yeah, and he and like a black producer was wondering about this character who's black and the stripper saying like, should we kind of like look into this? We want to kind of represent this right.
Yeah.
And like and then like all of a sudden he went like, no, like it's diverse. Like they all of a sudden have to explain themselves. Like, and I feel like it comes to like the writers or anything. For some reason, if you critique any kind of like to be sensitive of another person's perspective, it all of a sudden becomes like a fight instead of a discussion.
Yeah.
Like it just becomes
everyone's so quick for the fight and not the discussion. Like because especially for a very privileged person that he is, I can see why automatically when someone critiques that you go to, well, that's not me, I didn't do that, this isn't real, and like you're misunderstanding me. And it's like no. Someone's merely saying, can we look into this a little bit more? Can we talk about this? But it's the same thing that happens. It really is the same thing where people are going to this man who runs this network saying, can we talk about this? And he's saying, not all men.
Yeah. It's just discuss it. Like for some reason, like people, I guess it's people just don't like being critiqued or don't like being viewed as a in negative light. If
you don't want to be critiqued, stay out of the arts because you can't handle criticism or rejection. You're in the wrong field.
But people get super defensive, and the thing is, I usually find that people that are super, super defensive are those in the position where like they don't need to worry about that.
Yeah.
They don't need to be worried about that. And I'm like, why? I don't understand why you're being so defensive. Like literally, you could just sleep on it and it's fine.
Yeah.
But like for other people, it's like their whole life is ruined.
Yeah, and sure, there are people who take it too far, where everything's a problem and everything is wrong, but there's nothing wrong with having a conversation about like, hey, are we being too unfair with our female characters?
Yeah, it's a good discussion to have.
Yeah.
And not be like, no, it's in the book.
Yeah.
Like, okay, yeah, it's fine. That's the book. You're like going away from the book, and now like you're known by going into season that's totally not written.
Yeah, like there's no books anymore.
You can
it's true.
go wherever you want. So are you sure that this is a direction? You can, because there's people that love your show, that look up to your show, that like see it as inspiration, and I know like you need parents to tell you what to do, and you need like your own common judgment, but still you still have to be responsible for the content that you make.
If we're gonna break it down, Arya is one of people's favorite characters, and she's had motivation without having any of those scenes, and it's like you have a case study within your own show to prove that. And I'm pretty sure maybe this is different now since I watched it, but like Brienne of Tarth, I think is her name.
Mm-hmm.
And like I'm pretty sure it's the same thing. I could be totally wrong in that fact because I haven't seen all the episodes. But it's like you have two fan favorite, really badass and powerful women who you've given motivation outside of any of that, any sexual violence and stuff like that. It's like, you have a case study right here. You can do it. I believe in you. And I would much rather watch that.
Yeah. I don't know. Like, I think, again, it's the audience they're playing for, and it's the presumed audience.
Yeah. I would hate to think that there's an audience out there that's like, yeah, I want more of that. Like, ooh, don't write for those people. Don't write for that audience, ever.
Don't write for the people that would think that, like, well, she was wearing that coat, so what do you expect?
So what do you expect?
Sure. It's like, so forget the stupid people. It's like, why? So many.
No, do forget the stupid people. Forget that they're a part of your audience. Don't write for them.
Could you just imagine, though?
Don't consider them.
Like, imagine a world where all of a sudden everyone's just like, oh, just write your voice.
Yeah.
Like, just imagine the content that would come out if people could just write their voice. like the thing is, there'll be the stupid voices, but then there'll be other voices that you never heard.
Yeah, and the stupid voices would never get financed.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
It's just, yeah.
We know that's not true.
But like you're always told, like no, but like think about it from this perspective, which is the
Yeah.
common mainstream perspective.
Or even like this is kind of off topic, but
Go for it.
the Stranger Things, the Netflix show Stranger Things.
Yeah.
They were turned down from a ton of networks, and all these networks, probably very stupidly, were like, oh, adults aren't going to want to watch a show that has kids as the lead characters. Why don't you focus on the detective and make it about the detective solving crimes? And so they were like, but that's going to take away what's special about this. This isn't our voice anymore. This isn't like our vision anymore. So they kept saying no to all of
them
these.
For sticking with their vision, though, like that's
Yeah.
Just stick to your vision and not like because it's a hard field, and you literally just want you just need to eat. So like
you just need your end.
To say no to all those people and stick with your guts. That's like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And even looking at the show, it really did focus a lot on like people. It focused a lot on adults too much for me.
You're like, I just want more of the kids.
I just want more of the kids. So I find that's just understanding, like misunderstanding the audience.
Yeah, or misunderstanding what people actually want. I think it's the perception that you have to make the hero the exact same as your audience. And you don't. Like, I love all the kids in Stranger Things. I'm nowhere near their age. Like, well, that's not true. I'm close to the older teenagers' age, but like, the little kids, I'm nowhere near close to that. But I identify with them because they're real people and they have real feelings, and you love them and you care about them. I can identify with, Wonder Woman. I'm not like that. Like, I can identify with male heroes. Like, they don't have to be your target demo as a main character.
No, yeah, and I think it's just a misunderstanding of like who we can relate to.
Yeah.
Like it has to be this kind of person. That's what people like. Like no, it's only what statistics that you studied like, and like, but there's a shitload of other people that were never asked.
Yeah. Exactly.
Well, I'm just trying to
raise the heat. Good conversation.
To wrap it up, I think we are going to just pick up on a little thing we were talking about last week, which was where is it? Believe. There it is. Okay. So last week we asked people what they thought about the Sausage Party animation studio complaint thing. And what actually happened was that a union complaint was made. So, Canadian Labour Union has filed a complaint against the animation house behind Sausage Party for allegedly failing to pay its animators sufficient overtime for the work on the film. So, it's real, and it's happening.
Good.
It's and I guess a lot of people there are happy. It's great that some people's voices got heard, which is nice. There's good change in the field and the business.
It's uplifting.
Yeah. That's really cool.
So we'll see what emerges from there. It probably will. I'm gonna guess it'll probably end up being a payout unless the studio isn't that, well in.
Well, by the amount of people it seems that they wronged.
Yeah.
That's a lot of money.
The movie was made for like 19
million. Really?
Yeah. So like that's why people I feel like want to investigate further.
The studio, the studio's in Vancouver.
Yeah.
That's kind of crazy. I didn't know that.
Interesting.
There are exemptions from the Employment Standards Act. If you are considered a high-tech worker, that means the employer wouldn't have to pay overtime. So we'll see. So I guess they're just like going into IATSE legalities and what's in the actual like documents and stuff, and trying to figure out how they can spin this so that hopefully some people get paid, or hopefully some But I'm sure whoever is against that probably isn't going to be working there anytime soon.
Yeah.
Still, though, I hope that it is a change, right? Because the thing is, though, like, I think why people investigate it is because it's something that's building.
Hmm.
Like, it's people are not understanding the amount of work that goes into it.
Yeah.
And so, like, at least with this kind of press, it's just kind of like, no, they're people. You know,
Yeah.
like, they work really hard.
And I think it is really common to, like, in this industry, to sort of abuse your workers and just think that, like, well, you'll take it because you want to make it in this business. So hopefully this will be a change for that so people can get fair treatment.
No, yeah, they deserve it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that we're going to call it there. I guess the question for next week is going to be, what is your opinion on dicks?
Are you pro dick?
Are you pro or con dick?
Which party?
Would you like to see more in Game of Thrones? What's your opinion on, I guess just in generality, what's your opinion on the sex versus violence argument kind of thing, and what should be shown, what's gratuitous, what's tasteful, what's artsy kind of deal?
Yeah.
So thank you for listening. If you're listening live, of course, we're live every Saturday on Twitch, on our Twitch, twitch.tv/unknownairfilms. And then this goes up onto iTunes, Google Play, SoundCloud, and then on YouTube as well. So thank you for listening. Watch live if you can, and if not, we'll see you next time.
Bye.
And thanks for Amy for guests.
Yeah.
And Rick will be back, and so we'll get to talk to him about this.
Boom. Kidding.
Add more people.
Alrighty. Bye.